afternoon, good evening. Emmanuel Ahimbisibwe again from the Orchard of Marriage. And I want to thank God so much for all of you who listen in, who follow up on us, who follow us on our YouTube channel, on our TikTok, and on all our places. And those members who attend our physical fellowships, those members on our WhatsApp groups. I want to thank God so much for all of you who have been blessed by this ministry and by the word that we always share in this place. It is yet another time to share with you, dear friends, and I am here this time to share about money matters in marriage. Money matters in marriage. One, you remember I told you I'm an accountant, but this time I have come to share with you as a married man, as a family man, as a man who believes that we can manage money in a way that gives glory to God, in a way that does not inconvenience anyone, does not interrupt anyone, does not hurt anyone, but rather brings peace to both of us as a couple, as a spouses, as a couple. Yes, our money should bless us, it should be a blessing, not a curse to us. I want to thank God so much for all of you. One thing that you need to note is that, yes, with money, the rich and the poor, they both suffer the challenges, they all struggle, they all find the problems, they have all gone through challenges to manage their finances in their marriages. So it's not a matter of how much money do you have as a couple, that maybe those who have more, there's a perception that when you have more, then there is more peace. When you have less, you will struggle all your life. No, that's not true from the researchers that are across around, that both those who are rich and those who are not rich, they all struggle. They all struggle. With $1 in the house and with $1 million in the house, they all have challenges, they all struggle. So dear friends, I've come to share with us about money matters in marriage. Maybe being an accountant, you would expect that I'm coming to share about, things like budgeting, things like income and expenditure statement, international financial reporting standards, international accounting standards. None of those I will share about. I'll share as a married man who has been in this. And let me start like this. When I was starting a marriage at my place with my dear wife, Shaun Chibatenga, we now have 3 children, and these are 15 years back. So when we were marrying, this is what happened for us. And most of these things, you need to take note of them. When we were marrying, I asked her for marriage, she accepted. Then it cut the story short. When we reached our functions, to prepare for our functions, I prepared for the wedding, I prepared for the dowries. That's almost all I prepared for. My wife, she was working. She was blessed. She had a job, a formal job. She was working at that time, and actually she was earning more than me, slightly more than me. Those days, slightly more than me. So my wife, she dressed herself. She funded everything from her side of the giveaway. I did not carry other than the traditional things that I have to do. But she dressed up herself. She managed her maids. I did not come in to make any input on the maids. So that one also was a very landmark. It was a very key point to know that I have someone who can dress herself. And we did not talk about this, but she came up to say, I'll do that. I mean, she decided, she did that. She mobilized her people for her giveaway party. So she made her money. And she dressed herself. Now that is very rare with most of the ladies. I have a friend of mine, when the lady had a lot of money. And when she had chosen to dress up herself, I mean the gown, actually, to pay for her gown, some friends told her, no, that's a no-go area, A gown must be paid for by the man. Must be paid for by the man. You cannot pay for yourself a gown. That's all the wedding is about. And to end the story short, unfortunately, that marriage did not last. It later ended along the way, would not continue. So yet the man was struggling. That was not the only issue. No, they had very many issues. They have very many issues along the way. But dear friends, mine paid for her gown and dressed herself, managed her maids, and everything was okay. I did not have to be on pressure for those areas. Now that one brings in an element. You see a generous wife. You see a wife coming in to build a home, to make a contribution to a home. Some of them, they have resources, but for some reason, they are told or they have crammed, they have a mindset that it has to be the man to pay for this and this and this and this. There's always been a contention of when the man is struggling, should the wife, is it okay for the wife to contribute on her dowries? Why not? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? What we are working for after the wedding is bigger than just about the dowries, than just about the wedding function, the giveaway function. Dear friends, what is bigger is yet to come. And whatever we are doing here matters a lot. It lays a very strong foundation. Lays a very good foundation. We have been in places for these traditional marriages and these traditional functions to prepare for the wedding. And you go there, there's a lot of haggling for the dowry, there's a lot of stress over the man, and sometimes the man is like they first have to go out, they are chased away, then they are called back again, people are not agreeing. Dear friends, this thing of the dowries, we need to find out how to manage it. And all this lay a foundation for how we will manage our finances later in our marriage. Yes, many authors have written, and I've said the challenge that we have, one of the biggest challenges we have in our marriages is that spouses, a man and a woman, families, they put too much effort on the wedding function, but they never put enough effort on the marriage. All the effort is focused on the wedding, and after the wedding you are alone there, everything seems not to make sense, the honeymoon is short-lived, and you go back at your normal life and now coping up with each other's differences, and it becomes a challenge, dear friends. So I have come to share with us, dear friends, that is how I started with my wife. Yes, she funded her gown, she funded her side, she managed her side, and I just came in with my traditional part that I had to pray to bring her to wed her. So, secondly, another event, I wanted to bring these 2 or 3 events from our area, then maybe they can help someone can pick a lesson from there. When we wedded, after the wedding, somehow she put in me an idea of honeymoon. I was a village boy. I was a village boy, the word honeymoon was very far from me. But in the courtship, she kept mentioning about it, she kept mentioning, we need to think about it, how far, plan about it, look for a place. So, for some reason, I had some money. That time. I went, looked for some place. I paid for that place. I paid before that place. So after the wedding, we immediately disappeared to that place. As a matter of fact, my family was very angry with me. How I could come, because I did the wedding from our family compound. And in the evening, I went to a hotel. They thought I'm going to a hotel, then in the morning I will come back. But I went to a hotel. From that hotel, early in the morning, we drove away to a very far place. Now my old grandfathers, grandmothers, the uncles, they could not believe, because I never told anyone about this. Please, I advise you, tell some people, let them know where you have gone to, and find out their feelings or their responses, maybe how it will happen. But I am a man from there who believes so much in taking a honeymoon, taking that leave, and you go outside, have a time. So when we reached the honeymoon, we carried away, they gave us money in parcels, and as many gifts. We kept the gift somewhere, but we carried this, we packed our parcels of money because we do not have a debt. That's another miracle that God did for us. We finished this wedding without debts. We thank God so much for that. So from the wedding, from the reception, we go to a hotel, and from the hotel, we pack the parcels in a bag, and then everything else, we will go for our honeymoon. We crossed like 5 districts from where we did our wedding from to where we are going to have honeymoon. So when we reached there, this is another thing now that marked another landmark. When we reached there, we opened our envelopes the next day. We opened this, and there was good money. There was good money. I remember I was a struggling man. I was a village boy, but we bought some electronics that have lived almost up to today. That have lived. Some of them just got destroyed 15 years later. So friends, when we reach in the honeymoon, as we go to the town, we come back later, my wife told me she has some money. And she has some money. Actually, she told me earlier that she has some money on her bank account. So she gave me an ATM. She said, you can go to town, buy this and this. What else do we need? What else do we need? What else do we need? She had some money. Actually, all her honeymoon We had that money from the wedding reception. Then we also had the money she had on her account. I don't think I had some balance, maybe not much or no. So that's what happened. So she had her money. She gave me an ATM. So now from the honeymoon, she's giving me an ATM. Don't you begin to see some green light here, some green right ahead of you? If you're a man like me in that position, and the wife has already immediately given you her ATM, and of course we are enjoying life. Our honeymoon was excellent. Remember, we have money and we are in a good place, very conducive place, far from our home. It was good. Our phones are off and we're rejoicing. My job was very hectic. I had a job where it was even hard to take an off, even had to take a leave, even the holidays you were called now and again. I was working in an education institution, so in the holidays we had what they call in service, those who study in the holidays. So in the recess program, so we had that means our campus was full all the time. It was running January to January. So dear friends, we reached there and I'm on leave for the first time. I'm rejoicing and she's happy also. She has given me her ATM and we talk about all these things. Now, dressing up herself at the wedding, and now she is giving me her ATM and I know how much money she is there, and we are planning for it. We are buying this and this. We are going to town buying this, making a walk around, making movements around. All that made a strong foundation for the way we manage our money at home. So dear friends, certain things may also need to have formed either a good foundation for your money matters or a wrong foundation. Yes, and I didn't want to call this management of finance. If I could say management of finance, some of my people may not understand because on account that maybe that would be the better terminology, but money matters in our families. So dear friends, the way we manage our money later, when we marry, definitely, first of all, the wedding comes from the money. This function is paid for using money. So when we pay for it using money, what happens is that, later we make money. We come to build resources. We come to be stewards of God's resources. So our mindset, I want to mention point number one, dear friends, our mindset towards money is what matters a lot. Money we will get. We will get. You may get even a lot of money. Some people, you will become millionaires. Some people, you will become billionaires. Others, you may be struggling, but you have some money. At least you can manage your rent. At least you can manage meals for your family. At least you can manage the school fees for your children. You can manage medical for your children. Those are the basic things. And money begins from there. So whatever you're earning, whatever money you're making, most likely you are able to meet your rent, you are able to meet your school fees for your children, you are able to pay for food, you are able to pay for bills. So you are able to manage those bills and those items. So dear friends, I want to just to come to you and say our mindset towards money, more especially from the backgrounds where we are born from, is all that affects us, is all that challenges us. Where you're born from, how did your parents manage money? How did your parents manage money? For example, we have been told one of the things, the theories that outside there, with most of the researchers, is that girls who have been brought up by the mothers, they have issues in managing a family, managing money. Some of them, they have issues. Those who have been brought up by their mothers, or they have been brought by a woman somewhere. They have seen this woman do everything. They have seen this woman go out for everything. They don't know issues of, let's wait for dad. This one, let's consult dad. Let's consult our father. Let's talk to papa. Let's talk to our dad. Let's wait for dad. Like in our traditional homes here in Africa, there's some things in a home that they must be handled by the man. For example, if you came to my traditional home to borrow an axe, to borrow a wheelbarrow for construction, those are to borrow a panga, even a panga. Those are some of the things we grew up knowing. These are for dad. The woman cannot give them away. You want a he-goat to go and give you babies, kids for your goat. You want a he-cow, a bull. Those are some of the things. It must be a man. But in the moments where the girl has been brought up by the mother, all these orders, all this bureaucracy is not there at all. It is not known at all. She has seen her mother do everything. So most likely they struggle. They struggle to cope up. They struggle to cope up on what area do they have to wait for the mother, for the father, for the husband. In what area is the father husband has to take a decision. So they struggle sometimes. But you know, when you have accepted Christ and you have believed in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, dear friends, He changes you. Most of these things you learn, we get transformed, we get healed, dear friends, and life changes, and life is so much better and greater. I want to challenge you, dear friends, especially girls who have been brought up by their mothers, brought up by a woman somewhere. You need to be transformed by God. You need to equip yourself. You need to give yourself enough exposure. You need to give yourself, to acquaint yourself with these skills of managing money at home. Where you do need to engage the man. You get a salary, and sometimes you don't see the need of involving your husband at all. You earn money and you don't see the need for involving your husband at all. You're spending your life like that. But also the men, it also affects, they may have been brought up by a man who was everything at home. He was a real man at home, who commands everything, who handles everything. His money is his money. The wife has to beg for everything. Children have to beg for everything. Everything. It is a matter of go and ask your dad. Go and ask your dad. Go and ask your dad. Everything. It is the dad, and he knows why he keeps money. Either he has a lock in his bedroom, a locker where he keeps his money, or he has a bank account that is managed by himself alone, or something like, he has a wallet, he keeps his money in his wallet. Wherever he goes with his wallet. Or even when money is there, you don't touch on it. So, dear friends, some of these things, they give us wrong mindsets. We grew up, this is now a modern world we are living in. Laws have crossed each other. They have become a mix. We have a mix of roles. We no longer have roles that are specifically for men and roles that are specifically for women. A lot of things have been interchanged. Today, men have been encouraged. They can make their cup of tea also at home. Men have been encouraged. They can also make some chips at home. They can also prepare tea for themselves at home. They can make coffee. Yes, they can. And make an omelette for themselves. So that shows you how roles have changed. Today, women can also buy land for their family. They can pay for land. They can pay for building of their home. Yes, their home, they can pay. We have some women who have paid for the home. So, dear friends, now that these things have changed, have crossed, we need to prepare ourselves, and we also get that mix. We also get that appreciation of the better life that we are in now. The life has been so much modernized that you no longer can remain in your wrong mindsets that are limiting you, and life will move. Sometimes, as often as possible, you need to have an open mind. You need to be positive. You need to be a woman and a man of faith. You need to be open, to be transparent, to be accountability. Actually, accountability and transparency need to be natural principles within our families. Where they are not, dear friends, we are likely to struggle. Where they are not, we are likely to have issues. So I want to challenge you, dear friends, our mindset, our background, where we are coming from, could be an issue of how we are managing our finances, how we are managing money in our families. Maybe you were brought up in a family where we are told of these things. They're outside that they happen. The man gives the pocket money to the children, and then the mother passes behind when they are going outside. I know your dad has not given you enough, so you also have this one. I know your dad does not give you pocket money, but and don't tell him, I'm giving you this, and don't tell him. You pass behind it to give money to your children. Now, those are poor backgrounds. Those are dangerous backgrounds where we are coming from, dear friends. So I pray by the grace of God that He helps us to be transformed, to be healed, to have an exposure that can help us, and we can minister in money. We can steward this money resource very well to the glory of God. To the glory of God, dear friends. So you need to start detaching yourselves. You need to start detaching yourself, cutting yourself away from those poor backgrounds, from those poor bondages, from those poor CNGs. Those things that are besieging us. You need to cut yourself from them. Those things, they create bondage to you. You earn money, but you're not happy with it. You are a corporate manager. Somewhere you are a manager, but your subordinates, they can't understand why you are never a happy woman, why you are never a happy man, why you are always, look aggrieved, look unhappy, look disgruntled at work. They don't understand. Yet you earn money 10 times than the money they earn. So, dear friends, I want to challenge you that our backgrounds, we need to manage them. We need to know where we are coming from, and then we need to up our game. We need to talk about this money, dear friends. We need to realign. When we are talking about money, dear friends, when we marry, you have to go through a transformation to know it is no longer about me now, it is now about our family. Whatever plans we are making, whether they are investment plans, whether they are saving plans, whether they are making money plans, dear friends, it's now about our family. It is no longer about you, me, my money, what I'm earning, how do I manage it, how much, how. It is now about family money. Family money, dear friends. That's why it is very important that as often as possible, you once in a while, you come home when you have shopped for your wife. You come home when you have shopped for your husband. It should be very okay. That's one of the signals that now you have transformed, you have known it is family money. Family money. When you see a wife contributing on construction, when you see a wife contributing on buying land, the land for the family, when you see a wife contributing on rent, when you find a wife who contributes on school fees or pays school fees as a matter of fact and brings you a receipt, when you see a wife who does that, a wife who contributes on buying a car for the family, dear friends, you know there has been some transformation now. Those are some of the signals. When you see a friend of ours, a couple came to speak to us at our fellowship, at our Orchard Fellowship, physically, and they told us how their first car, when they bought the first car, the man put this car in the names of the wife. And the wife was at home and she got surprised. She got surprised. The car logbook came in her names. Those are some of the signals that this family has been transformed, or this man has been transformed. He's no longer bound by the other background as the way we grew up from. And maybe he could have grown up in a very different background, where the man was stingy. Maybe his father was stingy. But for now, the man has accepted to be transformed. He has transformed himself. Most of us, we grew up in situations where they were stingy, or they were too generous that we even ended up not having our own home. We were in rental or our yards. You were even married from a rental house. Because they were too generous. So, dear friends, we need to realign our objectives, our goals, our finances, our money to the family focus. A family focus. You need to know where, as a family, where are we heading to, and you make sure all your money is focused into that direction. As a matter of fact, there's always a challenge about communication. People say one of the biggest challenges, especially in Uganda, number one actually is communication, number one challenges of marriages. But some men, you may not talk about what you are doing, how you can discuss your money, to make a budget together, to look into the matter together. But dear friends, the matter is, and the issue is, whatever you do, is it for the family? You buy land and you are hiding agreements. You buy land and they are in your names and hidden. You are buying a house or building rentals, and the wife does not know about the titles. You have a car and the wife does not know about the titles. Or the husband does not know about the titles of the land you bought, the titles of the car you bought, the titles of the assets you bought. Dear friends, we need transformation. We need transformation. These are the money matters I want to bring home in a way that is as practical as possible. I know it is also very okay in some marriages when you are very open to each other, when you are free, you can buy your assets, and maybe they are in the names of the wife alone, and the wife in the names of the husband. But are they managed as a family? Do we manage them as a family? Some of you think it is okay. I am just accepting because some of you do it and you say it is okay. But for me and my family, everything is joint. Everything is joint, and so far we haven't got issues in that. Our home is joint. It is only the car that cannot be joint for so far in our country. But most of the things for us, they are joint. So, dear friends, I want to ask you and challenge you, dear friends. We need to realign our money planning, our finance planning, alongside the family focus, the family direction. Our family should have goals that we are pursuing, and therefore the way we manage money should realign in our family goals. Yes, everything should be done to benefit the home, to benefit the family, to benefit us as a couple, but also our children. Dear friends, there's this contention also that when you are giving money to your parents, your spouse doesn't need to know. I don't agree. Your spouse doesn't need to know. You may need to report. You need to report, dear friends. The idea is that you talk about it before you give out money. But the second level is that at least when you have not reported before you give, report when you have given. I gave my mom 100,000. I gave my mom this amount of money. I sent my dad this amount of money. There is no trouble in that, dear friends. We need to communicate about our money matters. We need to communicate about them. When we give money to the relatives, we give money to the people on the street, we give money to church, we are giving money to at our places of work. Maybe you are contributing for this and the other. Should be no harm when we are talking about this. Money mindset, the whole issue is there. What mindset do you have? Don't allow money to be a bondage to you. Don't allow it to be a bondage to you. Even Paul writes to Timothy and talks about, he talks about the root of all evil is the love of money. It's not just money, but the love of money is the root of all evil. That's what Paul is writing to Timothy. So, dear friends, I want to challenge you that yes, we need to know our family structure. When you're managing finances, some things that affects us also, affects the way we manage our finances, is our family structure. Have you ever established? What kind of family structure do you have? Some of our people, they have a big family structure, they have a big family size. Others have a smaller family size. You need to be mindful of all this, that money will have a bearing. The way your family structure will have a bearing on how you manage your money, how you manage your finances. So, dear friends, I want to challenge you, I want to encourage you that you need to think so much about this. The way you manage the size of your money will have a bearing on how you manage your finances. You can't bring all the relatives at home and you are spending money without planning for it. You are spending money without communicating to your spouse. Yet you have some of us, you bring your relatives over, they have come to your side. You have like 3-4 of them and you have not communicated to your spouse. Yet your spouse is the one who has to meet the bills at home. Is the one who has to meet the food bills at home. Dear friends, what are we doing? We need to communicate about money. One challenge that we are having is lack of communication within our money. So we need to communicate about our money. How are we handling our money? Dear friends, we need to communicate about it. We need to agree. This money that we are making, we need to do a saving. That's number one. We need to do an investment. That's number two. Then we need to spend. We need to spend. So dear friends, how much are we saving? How much are we investing? Saving is the money we are saving maybe for reinvestment, or we are saving to acquire something later. We are saving to manage crisis later. We are saving to manage necessities later. We are saving for school fees. Those things we are saving to meet them later. We are saving to acquire some assets. Investment now is where we are putting our money such that it can bring a return to us. You put there your money and either monthly they can give you a return, or end of the year they can give you a return. These are money that you are doing. Are you in treasury bonds? Are you saving in some circle or saving some investment club? Are you investing in some? You're investing in a place such that it brings you a return. When you build a rental, it should bring you a rent. It should bring you rent every end of the month or every end of some period. So that is an investment. So we are doing money. We are managing our money for all those things. Then we need to know money that we are spending on, these things that just happen. So dear friends, I want to challenge us that we also need to make sure that the way we manage money, it should be in line with the family vision, family objectives, family direction. We need to make sure that we know our family values, such that whatever money we are doing, however we are managing it, it is feeding within the family values that we have. You are having a family value of transparency, of accountability, of integrity. You are a generous family. You are a faithful family. And then you are hiding money. You have money for the woman. Set as a child, as a cousin, money for the woman, money for me as a woman, money for me as a man. So dear friends, where are we heading if we keep managing money like that? So the way we manage money, it matters. It matters. As a matter of fact, it affects intimacy, it affects our trust levels, it affects our honesty levels, it affects our integrity. Money is a key player in all those areas. So how you're managing money, it is a key player in all those areas. And when you are mean with small money, you will also be mean with big money. Don't say, maybe when I get more money, I will be free. No. The moment that you are not free with less money now, it is very hard and challenging that you will be free when you get bigger money. Very challenging. So dear friends, I want to challenge you and call upon you that we need to know our family values, and the way we manage money, we need to make sure it meets within our family values. It upholds our family values. It strengthens our family values. Strengthens. When children are going back to school, let us have a time to talk about their school fees and necessities. Talk about the tuition and necessities. We are planning to acquire some assets. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about how to raise the money. Let's talk about how much. Let's talk about from which sources. Let's agree on our sources of our money. It's outgrown that. My wife, she had a time. She had a time when she did not have a formal job and no formal business. But dear friends, I have more often. Yet I have been in formal job, formal employment almost all through. But I want to assure you, there are so many times when I have had to run to her to borrow some transport, or to pick transport for that matter. There are many times when I have had to run to her and say, please, this weekend I'm struggling. I don't even have money to take us through the weekend. And you know, people who are salaried employments, a weekend disturbs them a lot. Because during weekdays you have where you are hiding, but during weekend, that's you are at home and everything is looking at you. So I have many times when I have had to run to her and she has some money. She refuses. She takes us through. So dear friends, we need to manage our family like that. You know, you don't have to be having money and your family, you know, I mean, your spouse is borrowing from you. Your spouse actually at an interest even for some people. So, dear friends, I want to challenge us. Let's manage our money in the way that upholds our family values. You know, and let's also, when you're talking about money, let's be considerate of today, of our past. Let's be considerate of our past, of our today, and our tomorrow. You know, managing money, you need to be considerate of all those things. Just imagine the money you have today, tomorrow you will not have it. That's one factor. Just imagine, yesterday you were a very poor person, but now you have money. What if tomorrow you go back to the other situation? Yesterday you had a lot of money there. I mean, in the past you had a lot of money, but 10 years later you're struggling. You're struggling now. So we need to plan. We need to plan how we can sustain our family. This money, as a matter of fact, one of the challenges that we meet as couples is that some people do not consider the future. Some people are not considerate of the family big dreams. They don't have a big dream as a family, as a spouse, as a wife. You don't have a big dream. As a husband, you don't have a big dream. And that one affects your marriage. That one affects the way you manage money. I have met couples where the wife is on tension. The wife is on tension. She wants to see something done, something of importance for tomorrow. She wants some investment. She's asking, we have not acquired any asset. We don't have a home. We've not done what. And the man is relaxing. The man looks very soft, very okay. The man looks not bothered. So, dear friends, we have had those challenges. And it has caused the tension. It causes stress. It causes stress, dear friends. So I want to challenge us, dear friends, members, wives and husbands, that we need to be considerate of our tomorrow. We need to be considerate of today, but also of our tomorrow. And we need to remember our path, where we are coming from. Because our path, for some reason, it keeps building a trail. You need to be tired of some past. Some of us who have grown up in very poor backgrounds, who have grown up in backgrounds where money was an issue. You saw parents fighting over money. You saw parents separated because of money. You saw parents, you know, all the time angry with each other, yet they had money. Dear friends, when we come here to make a marriage, we need to override all those. We need to override all those and we need to sail up. We need to be transformed and we move up. Some of the things I had to say, no, I have to overcome this. You need to be intentional. You need to be intentional to overcome these money matters. You need to be intentional. You saw your dad struggling while your mother was having a lot of money and enjoying and rejoicing. Your mother maybe was selling matoke at home, was selling bananas at home, was doing what, having a business, and she was enjoying her money. And you saw your father struggling to raise his school fees, paying your school fees like in 4 installments in one term or one semester. So dear friends, we need to be transformed. We need to upgrade ourselves. We need to reach somewhere. And we begin talking about these money matters. Plan for our retirement, dear friends. One time we shall retire. We need to plan for our retirement. The way we handle money, it will affect us when we remain, the two of us in our family, without our children, when they have all gone to school for boarding or they have all gone to start their own marriages. Dear friends, we need to know that it will have a bearing, the decisions we are taking over money today. It will have a bearing on our retirement. It will have a bearing on that time when we'll be staying together in our form of family, two of us. I've met many couples now. When your children are around 15 years, when all of them, the last is about 13 years, they have all gone to high school. And you're likely to be at home alone, maybe with a house help, alone, maybe with some relative, alone. But some people, they're there, two of them. So the way we handle money today, the way we manage our finances today, dear friends, it has a bearing. Let's think of how we shall live tomorrow when children are not at home, how the way the decisions we are taking today, how they will affect us. Let's plan for our retirement, dear friends. The generation we are in now, Those of us who are 30 years of age, who are 40 years of age, it is very possible your children will not have any responsibility over you. It is very possible your children will not think about taking you for medical insurance, for medical whatever. It is very possible that you will manage yourself all through. So better manage your finances in a way that will benefit you later, dear friends. Then, when you have planned all that, dear friends, I want to bring it to a conclusion and say, dear friends, we need to think about these things also. Plan, make sure you budget together as a family. Budgeting together makes a lot of sense. We need to budget together. And when you are budgeting, this is what we do. We have to identify all our sources of income, and we know how much we'll get there for the year, especially. Then we can know how much we shall spend. So planning your incomes and your expenditure, that's what they call the budgeting. You have identified all the resources, and when you find that the expenditure is bigger than the income, I have been trained and I want to share with you today also, the issue is not about cutting your expenditures. The issue number one is about how do we increase our sources of income. That's why that having an employment like I have is not enough. You need also to think about what other sources of income do I have. I am a professional accountant, so I can do some side, they call them side hustles. I can create more sources of income. I can file returns. I can manage tax issues for my clients. I can do accounting for them. I can do this and this. My wife can also do this and the other. Right now, she's doing some business. We need to think about all these, and we create some more income for our family, more especially for the future, for tomorrow, dear friends. So let's budget together, dear friends. Every beginning of the year with my wife, we sit and plan and say, okay, this year, what are we aiming at? When we were starting our marriage, we used to have like 15 items that we are planning as a couple. But when we grew up and we became, mature, now we have like 3 or 4 items we are focusing on as a family, because school fees is obvious. We no longer have to write school fees on the list. We no longer have to write utilities on the list. We no longer have to write fuel on the list. Those things are obvious. We no longer have to write food. So we need to write some big things that we need to achieve in a year, and the 3 or 4 should be enough for us. So dear friends, planning together, budgeting together is very key for us. Let's plan. A family that does not plan, they will have struggles. This is why you reach to make this budget, and someone is thinking of a coffee garden. They want to start a coffee garden, and for you are thinking of rentals. You are thinking maybe of starting a salon, starting some other business, and this one is thinking of starting the other business, maybe real estate. Another one is starting of general merchandise shop, hardware shop. Someone car rentals. We need to plan this. When we plan together, all this will be aligned. And learn to give in to each other. Learn to surrender to each other. It doesn't have to be on you all the time. You don't have to win all the time. Let's win as a family. Let's do something. I did this. I agreed with my wife about it. But for me, I know what I'm going to do. My wife insisted on this. But for me, I know what I'm going to do. My husband insisted we have to do this year. But for me, I know what I'm going to do. Me, I have to do the other one also. Dear friends, that is no longer marriage. That's not a marriage. That's not a marriage, dear friends. Yes, income and expenditure plans, let's plan them. Let's plan we forecast our finances, our plans. Let's have accountability reports. When you manage the family finance, dear friends, bring accountability. Bring accountability. You've been entrusted with the family money. Bring accountability about this money, dear friends, how you managed it. Bring accountability. Let's have transparency in our family. So I want to bless the Lord so much for you. And I want to say have a nice time and be blessed. This money, we can manage it without fighting over it. We can manage it without struggling. We can manage it when we are peaceful, when it is a blessing to us and it is not a curse. We don't have the much love of money, and that one is a curse, the Bible also says. So I want to challenge you, dear friends. Have a nice time. Be blessed in managing your finances. I remain Emmanuel Rahimbisibwe. Follow us up, click and like our YouTube channel, and the Lord bless you. Share it with as many people as possible. Bye-bye.